Hello, Amber Housley's here. Welcome back to the show. Going with another solo episode here because I wanted to go and nerd out with you about sales funnels. So, this was a topic I shared on at Bloom and Grow Live, and it was really fun. Like I felt like went up to the front of the room and was like, "Okay, everyone, brace yourselves. I'm about to get real nerdy with you." And they got all excited, and it got me so excited, and I made sure to strategically time it before lunch. Because if you do it after lunch and attendees have a full belly, guess who's going to take a really good nap? And my sales funnels is going to become like a snooze fest, right? And so I was making sure they were on the edge of their seat and actually feeling pretty hungry. In fact, I think all our delicious organic salads and spread was like getting kind of put out towards the end of the presentation. They were getting excited for it, but they were also left a little hungry for more when it came to the sales funnel. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to share a little bit of expertise and real life application of it more recently here in my business in the last couple of weeks. So go ahead and sit back, maybe take some notes, or if you're in the car, you can just listen on here and follow up with me afterwards. But I just want to go and talk about sales funnel strategy. It's something that I've talked about. I've actually spoken on stages about this years ago. I remember more notably, I had spoken at my friend Heather Crabtree's live event, probably about 6 or 7 years ago. And I was talking about getting started with sales funnel strategy. I remember another speaker asking me more specifically in the room, like, "Hey, like, how many sales funnels do you have?" And at the time, I was working for another business, and I'm like, "Oh, we have about 6 or 7 right now." And I remember even back then, they were like, "Wow, like that, like, you mean you have 6 or 7 different entry points?" And now, if I were to answer that question, I'd be like, "Wow, that has more than doubled and tripled." And I believe a lot of most businesses that are of our size and scope and serve in the way that we do really do have that many. But you, my friend, sitting across the, phone from me or the stereo or wherever you're listening on right now, you're like, I don't even know where to start with my sales funnels. And so I want to go back to that point. I want to go back to the very beginning and make this really simple for you because sales funnels can sound very complicated. You might say that sounds overwhelming, sounds very techy, sounds like I don't have time for that, Amber. I got a lot on my to-do list. I get it, right? And so I always like to go and start forth with the intention when I'm doing teaching is say, "Hey, you may not need all of this information right now, but like be an active listener and tuck it away in your back pocket. So when the time comes, you'll be ready with it. You'll already have a little familiarity with it. Or, hey, Amber, talk to me about this strategy before, and now I'm ready for it. Now, it's all coming back to me." And so take what you need today, file away the rest, and then we'll figure out all of it together. Does that sound good? So if you're not familiar with an online sales funnel, we're really talking about a virtual pathway that kind of guides people that are new to your brand, new to your business, and it guides them from being maybe curious, learning about you, your product, your services for the first time. And then eventually we want to guide them to becoming paying customers, right? Even maybe repeat customers, right? That's always my goal in my world because once you come into the Amber Housley world, like I want you to stay for a long while because I know I can serve you in so many different capacities and serve you really well over and over again. And like, I want us to be lifelong friends. I want to support you in your business and be a part of your journey for a while. And so I believe that that could be the same thing for you and your customers as well. Now, some of you may have, a one-time customer business. I get it, where you're like, yeah, my whole goal is for them to come in and then they're gone, right? Like, especially like my wedding planners, you're like, I hope that I only have my clients maybe one time for their weddings. Who knows? They might be repeat. But I will tell you, as a person who was a former wedding planner, I loved working with families where I got to do multiple events and weddings within one family, where I was hired originally maybe to do the daughter of a family. And then they loved it so much. I did the son's wedding, and that was their wedding gift to their son and his fiance when I got to do theirs next. It was like a family reunion just a couple of years later. So there is an opportunity here, whereas you maybe not have your customer again repeat, but you may serve other people in their world and their community, which is just as helpful. In sales funnels help you do that. Okay. And so the concept I want you to think of with a sales funnel is to think about like the widest opening. If you think of a funnel that is kind of in a V shape, the highest point, right? That's like when you have the most amount of people going through it, right? Right at the very beginning, we have the largest opportunity of people to kind of start at the top. And so it's very wide where people enter, right? And then eventually they go through different stages. Some may drop out, but some customers may stay with you, right? Until they reach the bottom and become happy customers. So people do get filtered out over time, maybe through the content that you share. I love making sure that I'm very much a part of the content that I share and sharing my expertise. I share my personal life. I share a little bit of everything. And somewhere along the way, people like may say, "Hey, I'm not an Amber Housley fan. Like, she's just not my vibe." And I'm like, "Cool, go ahead. Peace out. You're not here for me, but there's others who are for me and who are here for my style of teaching or expertise or, whatever I'm am meeting them at in their needs for their business." And so that works for me, right? And so I want to go and talk to you a little bit about that funnel process, about how you're capturing attention at the beginning, you start to build interest, and then you lead people to really take action and maybe buy what you have to offer. Okay. So when it comes to online sales funnels, I also think of this too, is like, how can I be incredibly helpful at every step of my customer's journey? How can I support them, right? Maybe there's a form of free resources I can offer that can get them started in taking action. Maybe there's small, low ticket investments they can make to go and build up that trust. And then eventually maybe some other higher paid invitations, right? And so I build, I create, and I share at each one of those levels. So my business is very highly evolved. I want to say that. If you go back and listen to my episode with Candace Coppola, who I've worked with for many years, and we've built a lot of really cool things on her in her business and on her business menu, you could say. Those things didn't happen overnight, okay? But there are people like guides and mentors and coaches like me that can help you get there faster, right? If you do want to create any of the things you see I've created in my business, or what Candace has created in hers. But pretty much now, after doing online sales funnels for many years now, I can meet people at every single level and stage. So for you who's listening, I want you to just think about one stage you can meet them at. And maybe you already are. So maybe you do have like an established product or a service, right? And so, you're at the stage there in the funnel where people like make the buying decision and they hand over the money, or they, put it in their cart for checkout, whatever it may be, apply for your program. So you've got that part down. And so you just need to work on those beginning steps that happen earlier in the sales funnel, right? To move them along. And so whatever it is like, I want you to just be thinking about that as I talk through some examples that are coming up here in a moment. Now, when I think of online sales funnels, you're going to be really surprised that I don't think of just one piece of software. Now, there is a software that I use, I'll tell you about it in a minute, that does make it much easier to execute. But really, I want to be clear, like I wouldn't be a smart marketing strategist if I didn't tell you this, is that like your online sales funnel is made up of everything online. Okay. So this could be your website, your shop, your email software, your social media platforms, any CRM tools you're using, right? Like all of those things are part of your online sales funnel. Okay. The software that you use to actually create things like sales pages and landing pages and opt-ins and emails, all of that sort of thing. Yes, you can use a software for it, but I really want you to know, like, when you think of online sales funnels, it is your whole entire marketing environment. I work with people within the Coterie Mastermind where they'll come to me and they already have an established maybe service offering that they're doing. And I'm like, this is fantastic. How are you leading people into this journey? And they're like, oh, I post about it here and there. And so my job as the coach and mentor strategist is to say like, okay, like let's think of some ways that we can really nurture people into making that investment with you and into that service offering. And so we might introduce a lead magnet or a free resource and opt into their email. We might introduce like a free workshop or anything like that that can just like help get people in a more passive way who aren't ready to take maybe the full leap with you just yet, but some kind of warming up mechanism. And we kind of walk through all of the things that are required for it, all of the pages, all of the email sequences. And so we'll actually map all of that out together. And I'm speaking specifically to my Coterie Mastermind members right now. We will map that out together. We'll get on a call, like here are all the elements that you need. This is how simple it is. I make things sound so simple. It does require work. Okay. I always want to point that out is that I can teach and map things out very simply for you. So it's very clear, but there's work required on your part. It's not like auto magical that, I give you the plan and then, poof, it's all there for you. And like suddenly, the piggy banks records are being shattered right now in your business. It's not how it works. There's some hard work and like some rolling up the sleeves that's required, but I make it much more simple for you because you're not figuring it out all on your own. Okay. So let's talk about software now. Now that I've kind of, told you about that. Well, actually, I want to talk about first the things that you might use a software for, like the elements that are part of it, and then how I did that in real time about a week ago. Okay, 2 weeks ago. So sales funnel software, some of the things you might use in it. So I'll just might as well say what I use. So I use FG Funnels. So it's by the brand Funnel Gorgeous. I'm always very transparent. One of my longtime business besties, Kathy Olson, I've known her since the beginning years of my business. We were both invitation designers in the wedding industry, and we met at a wedding industry conference. And quickly, we had shared clients and friends in the industry, and we just, man, like a friendship was born. We were both new mamas back then with little babies that, we were feeding and like trying to run our businesses, all the things, and our stories just kind of intertwined. Well, Kathy grew up to run a multi-million-dollar software company. So that's how her story is currently today. And so FG Funnels, she's co-founder of it, along with one of my mentors and business coaches, Julie Stoyan. And so they own that company together. And so I moved over to that platform, I want to say about a year and a half ago. And I did it in the sense because I wanted an all-in-one solution. I was paying a lot of money to a lot of different platforms to do the things that FG Funnels could do for me. It's a newer software. I love it. I will tell you, like I said, I'm transparent about everything in my relationships and associations. And so with FG Funnels too, is I always like to say there's a little bit of a learning curve to get started on it, but they have amazing customer support. That's live customer support. So you can join office hours calls and, share your screen and get that kind of support that makes it, to me, more premium than the support I was getting on the old solution that I was using. Okay. A different software funnel company. And so I've been using FG Funnels. I use it for our email. So that replaced my email provider. I use it for all of our courses and memberships. So that replaced another product I was using. And then all of our sales funnels, which was another product. So I eliminated 3. I could eliminate more. There's other features of FG Funnels that it has that I don't currently utilize just because I'm kind of happy with where I'm at now. But those ones there I just spoke about like really helped eliminate extra costs in my business because all of the companies I was using before, the larger I grew, the more expensive it became. And FG Funnels has a very like locked in pricing, like what you join is what you pay. And that really was attractive to me because a lot of other companies are based on like, oh, the more successful you are, the more, it's going to cost you. And so I just like really liked that locked in rate. So that's what I wanted to say up front. So FG Funnels is what I use. Actually, if you go to amberhousley.com/FG Funnels, that will get you a backdoor access link into like getting a lot of free perks to joining using my affiliate link. And so go check that out if you're even interested in it and see what you think. I think you can actually start out and give it a try for just a little bit and see what you think about it and poke around and it might work for you. So let me go ahead and talk about some of the assets you might create using sales funnel software. So landing pages, right? Like if you want to capture people's email addresses and deliver them a resource, you actually would also have an opt-in form on that page. So you get their name and email address so they can subscribe to your newsletter or get whatever your lead magnet or resource or workshop, whatever it is, whatever the mechanism is that you want to deliver to them that offers value to them in some way. And then they'll land on a thank you page. Okay. So after they do that action, you want to go and give them actually something better than a thank you for giving me your email address. Let me send you on your way. It's on your way to your inbox. No, that's some really good real estate where you could actually give further instructions. You can pump them up, maybe send them over to your socials, give them additional related offers, maybe express gratitude. Like there's so much you can do with a thank you page that you might not otherwise know. So I just want to go and plant that seed for you right now. Okay, you also would use sales funnel software for email sequences. So these are like automated emails that you could go and use to nurture your leads, guide them through maybe next steps on their journey. You can have, kind of some informative emails that maybe give them more value. You can address maybe some more of their pain points, just kind of guide them along. Those emails that you send after, them sending you or them giving you their first email address, like that, those initial emails they get are some of the most openly, best open rates. God, I'm trying to get this sentence together. This would be the best open rate out of any of your other emails that you send. So make them good ones, right? Don't wait until maybe email number 8 before you actually make them an offer, right? Show them up front what they could be doing right then and there to start working with you right now and start getting that transformation. So you also might use sales funnel software to ding, 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 make a sales page, right? Actually go and have your product, your service, your event, whatever it is, and have, some persuasive copy, maybe some descriptions of what they're going to get, some testimonials, pricing information, like call to actions, all those things go on that page. Any kind of order forms and checkout pages so they can actually complete the purchase. You can do upsells, downsells. So like when they're going and checking out and buying the thing that you have, there might be some great things they can add to their cart. Kind of like if you notice when you go to TJ Maxx or Home Goods, what do you see in the checkout line, right? I don't know about you, but I pretty much will be guaranteed to add something to my cart in that checkout line that I didn't know I needed. Probably a fall candle of some sort or a dishcloth for that season that I didn't know I needed until that moment. And so if TJ Maxx and Home Goods is doing it and having success, and I can tell they're having success because my local store, the checkout line has gotten extraordinarily long. It's like the length of an aisle now and zips around like an entire maze. So they keep adding more stuff and shelves to that checkout line. So it works, y'all. I just want to tell you that it works. You can think about doing that to your online sales pages. So something to think about. Then, of course, any kind of thank you and confirmation emails. And then sales funnel software, a good one, has some good analytics and tracking because I am all about them numbers. So I am all about KPIs, key performance indicators, if you don't know that word, tracking metrics on your conversion rates, your traffic sources, your email open rates, right? Like all the data you need to know like what's working and what's not when it comes to your sales funnel. Because sometimes it's not the sales page. Maybe your sales page is totally on point, it has the right copy, the right everything that your potential attendee or customer wants and needs, right? But really your problem and why you're not getting the sales you're wanting is because you're not getting enough traffic to the page. So that can sometimes be a problem. And analytics and tracking and that sort of thing can tell you that, okay? That's why that's really important. So that's like what you can do with sales funnel software. I kind of told you that my recommended one is FG Funnels. That's my favorite one. You can use lots of other ones that are out there. The ones off the top of my head are like Kajabi, Thrivecart, Kartra, Lead Pages, ClickFunnels. People always ask me, what's the software that you use? So there's the one that I use for FG Funnels. In the past, I've used ActiveCampaign and MailChimp and ConvertKit for email. All of them were like good at different points of my business, but I'm really happy with what I have now. Because again, I like things all in one. Like that's just super important for me. But hey, you might be a different point in your business, so definitely research all the different ones. Go and send me a DM if you're curious about one of them over on Instagram, and I'll go and answer it for you and tell you my own thoughts and experience with using that particular tool. Now, I want to talk to you about what we did for our sales funnels just leading up to our Bloom and Grow Live event that we just wrapped here. So depending on when you listen to this episode, it could have been a couple weeks ago, a couple of days ago, who knows? But when we host Bloom and Grow Live, we know that, that an event in itself is a product in our business. And it is also a launching mechanism for other things. Like when I say launching mechanism, not in the sense that there's like a big launch that follows it. It's an opportunity where people are coming into my world and meeting me for the first time. And maybe they're not familiar with all of the things that we do here at Amber Housley, the whole community of products and services. And there's a lot of things that are on this menu, as I was saying. And so we know that them coming into Bloom and Grow Live, this is like their first interaction and experience with it. And so we just want to make valuable use of their time. So we only get to spend 2 days with our attendees, a limited amount of time actually in the room, of what we've made for this type of event. But we know that depending on their own interests and preferences, there's different journeys they can take with us afterwards. So they might join the Blooming Business Inner Circle membership, where, every season, kind of every 90 days, they have a virtual check-in with me, and I guide you through a virtual retreat experience that is, tapped into the seasons, that has business and lifestyle and mindset kind of all wrapped up in one. And so I'm introducing that particular product. I'm introducing Inspired Retreat, which is our next live event that's coming up in April of 2024. I'm talking about Coterie Mastermind, which I shared at the beginning of this episode, talking about how I actually can map out funnels for you, and do offer all that strategy, support, and guidance as you're implementing and creating those, because we'll work together over a 6-month period. So I get to really intimately know your business and work with you on that whole marketing effort. Or you might even be there in the room at Bloom and Grow Live because you're interested in hosting live events. And so Invite and Delight, my retreat planning course, may be the journey for you because you're like, hey, my next step is to go do this. So I actually had to introduce the full menu at Bloom and Grow Live. Now, it's really interesting. I have shared about my menu. I love that word. So if that's making you cringe, I'm sorry. The menu thing is like such an easy concept because I like to eat out at restaurants. Maybe you do too. And so I'm like, tell me what's on the menu. Like, because I'm a person is like, don't hide it from me. Like, let me know what you have because I may want it. Like, show me all the things, show me all your cards, right? Be transparent about that. You don't have to surprise me or hide it because you're afraid I might not need it. Maybe I need it. And so that's the approach I like to take in my business. That may not be for you. That's not for some people. In fact, maybe some live event strategist people out there besides myself may say, that's a terrible idea, Amber. You should only show them one thing. One thing is what it should be guided to. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense for me. My people all have different needs and backgrounds and experiences. And so I need to show the full menu. And so I decide to do it and share it on the first day of my event. And I do that for a couple of reasons. Do I really expect actually any sales on that particular day? No, I don't. But I know that it takes time to think about things. I'm a 50-50 buyer. Okay. So when I mean that, there's moments when I'm like, oh, let me pull out my credit card. I need this, pair of shoes, or I have to have the dish towel at TJ Maxx, right? Where it's just, I'm in that buying mood, you could say, where I don't need a lot of thought. But then there's other seasons where I'm like, oh no, I'm thinking about every single thing that I'm purchasing because I want to be very intentional with where I spend my dollars or my time and that sort of thing. And so I definitely can represent on any given day or hour two different sides of the coin. And so when I make the conscious choice to present the offers at Bloom and Grow Live there on the first day, I'm mostly doing it for you to just know, hey, this is what's out there. You don't need to do anything with this just yet, right? But maybe over the course of the time we're going to spend together over these 2 days, it will start to sink in for you. And you may then start to see the path that's best for you illuminated maybe by day 2. And that's exactly what happened. And it kind of made me chuckle because I do surveying for my events, of course. And in my Invite and Delight program, I actually give you the entire template. Here's all the questions you want to ask to go and get really good testimonials and feedback from your attendees. But I always ask and say hey, is there anything that you would do differently, or, you have questions about, or things we can make your experience better for you? And one of the attendees actually said oh, I thought it was kind of weird that on day 1, you presented the offers, I think that would have been a day 2 kind of thing. It was interesting to hear them say, and, I appreciate, I want everyone to be transparent. But I also know after doing this for this many years and actually doing it for other businesses too. So I've consulted on other people's events that are much, much larger than mine and, that have hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales revenue. And I know it's always really good to plant the seed early at the beginning of an event, just for that transparency, just to be hey, this is out there. You may not need it now. You may not even need it while you're here, want to take the leap now, but I'm doing you a disservice if I don't share it with you. And so that's kind of the whole method there that I want to explain about that. And so on day 2, I represented, I went in a lot deeper with the offers, and it felt so natural and seamless because, again, I've built up this business to go and do that. Like, I know I can meet every person and all of their needs at different points. And so I get excited. Like, hopefully you can hear that when I speak about the different programs on my menu. Like I love each one and every one of them in its own unique way, and the service and the transformation it offers, that I get excited about it. So it makes it easy to talk about. So if you are, I know we're talking about sales funnels. I'm going to get to that part in a minute, but if you are on the spectrum of that, you're an event host and you're like, how do I share about this? I talk about it in Invite and Delight, but I just want to like reassure you right now, like if you truly love what you create, if you have really created your offers from a place of alignment, we actually did this exercise at Bloom and Grow Live together. I need to find a way to like reorganize it so that maybe all of you who weren't there can actually do this exercise. But when you feel so aligned in your offers and you're so excited about them, it is almost effortless to sell them. Like, not sell them, but invite people to them, right? Like, and speak about them, because it's easy. It's easy when you know and love them and like them and trust them and you know they work. And so I just want to like plant that seed with you right now, and you tuck that in your back pocket when those like weird feelings might come up for you. Just be like, hey, I'm doing a disservice if I don't share about this with the people that need it, right? That might actually transform with this. So putting that out there. So in order for me to present my menu, present all these offers, and we did some really great incentives and free gifts that came with each one of them that we could do only like there in the room, which made it a little bit easier. We had to go and set up the sales pages for it. We had to set up the whole sales funnel process. Okay. And so I don't want you to think of sales funnels. Hopefully I've made this clear. Like, a sales funnel is more than a sales page and like some emails. Okay. It's more than that. Right. And so when I say we set up the sales funnels, like I already did the job of getting the right people in the room, right? Maybe nurturing them along the way and having a great experience. And so the second part now is making the post purchase a really good. So that is part of your sales funnel experience as well. And so what we needed to do ahead of time was create all of the sales pages for these different offers, all of the follow-up email sequences. So after someone made their purchase, they would get some emails that were fired off, or they would get access to certain things, different courses and products and retreats and that sort of thing. So there was this like automated process that had to be set up ahead of time, the workflow to make all of that happen, right? And the coolest part about it, that like I was like, I need to record a podcast episode about this because I was really excited, was the amount of it's not like it was less effort. Well, actually it was kind of less effort, but we already had this work done because we had done it before, right? This is not my first inspired retreat, right? This is like going to be number, I don't know, 16. I should actually count that because that would be a fun marketing point, right? This will be like number 16. And so we already have from our previous time here, the more recent one that was actually this past April, I think is what it was. We already had the post-purchase sequence set up. We already had the onboarding into that, right? And we already had the sales page, right? And so we had all these things. And so guess what happens when you have sales funnel software? You get to press that fun little duplicate button. And so yes, there's still some tweaking that has to be made to the sales page and to the dates and like different things. But for the most part, our harder work is done. And so you get to just keep doing that. That's what makes it so fun when you use things that are all in one system, like we do with FG funnels. Like you just get to press the duplicate button, change out the things. And so even when it comes to coming up here, I'm hosting an open house for the Coterie Mastermind, where I just want to share more about what happens in that program. I was able to meet today with Lauren, who runs all of our marketing on the team, director of marketing. And we sat down and we just like went through FG funnels and we're like, hey, like what's a recent online workshop page that we've done that we can, reformat into this? Because we've never done a Coterie Mastermind open house before. And so we just went in there and we just looked at the last like 3 different ones, totally different products and programs and funnels. So we went and looked at an Invite and Delight live workshop we did this year for a launch. We looked at the Gather and Grow workshop where I did some free marketing strategy workshops. One of them actually was talking about sales funnels. And then we looked at the Inspired Retreat, where I host in it like kind of an open house of sorts, info session about what happens at Inspired Retreat. So we looked through all of those different pages and we're like, which one's gonna be like the easiest to just like switch out the copy, switch out the image assets, right? And like be up and running a lot faster. And so we're actually going with the Inspired Retreat info session one. And all I have to do now is like write a couple, copy points about what people will get at the info session and whatnot. But our workflow is already set up. our number of emails that we have that help remind people to come to the open house. Like we have all of that already built out. It's just changing maybe the content and the dates and times. And so that's why sales funnel software like FG Funnels or a tool like that can be really cool for you. And I just remember after we had wrapped up our Bloom and Grow Live strategy session of, the different offers we were doing, like Lauren had her marching orders and they were going to be a lot more simpler because everything had already been built. And it's just a matter of time of just swapping out things. And so I hope that at least from this episode, you're realizing you can work smarter and not harder. And yes, sales funnel software like FG Funnels can be a little bit of a labor of love to maybe just get things transferred to it and to get things up and running. But once you do, sister, like it can feel so good. Like to know how fast I know we can execute on things now is it feels very empowering. That's like the word I feel is empowered now. And I don't feel like I have to like go to my team, or if it was just myself, because I can do these things to myself from time to time, right? When I'm not juggling a bunch of other things. But I know I can do things very fast now and it's done and I can bring things to market and I don't feel bad. I was getting to the point, I was thinking of the team, is that there is times as the CEO of this business and the idea person that I can feel a little bit of resistance on my own to bring my ideas to the table because I'm like, oh man, Lauren or the team, like this is going to just cause like a whole lot of extra work, right? To get us going, to get it all built. And now I don't feel that because I'm like, I know what it takes, right? And I know how much time it can go, and it still takes time, still takes effort, but it's more doable. And you can be up and running a whole lot faster once you put the effort in. So that's what I have to say about sales funnels today, and some real life examples of how we're using them, how we use them in the past. Very successful. We had so many people join our different journey ways, you could say, here for the upcoming season for the inner circle. For even I'll even tell you guys, this is an example. So we just unveiled in the inner circle an annual option. So to basically, I was thinking how the new version of the inner circle membership, when I say a new version, because you may be totally new here to my audience and to my background, is the inner circle it is now since January moved into the seasonal virtual retreat element. So you get that live component with me every season. And then you get access to some of my best marketing and business courses and all of these live workshops of different guest experts. So you kind of have this on-demand Netflix style library where you can get all these great business trainings and resources in the community, like all these things. So when we first, moved into this new model of the membership in January, I only wanted to introduce a monthly membership option. The old Inner Circle in its older capacity that actually had a much, much higher investment. So I made it much more accessible now. They had an annual option before. And so I wanted to wait until I unveiled the annual option. So basically kind of just to honor your commitment. If you know you're all in and you want to be with me for the next year in your business and your life and your mindset and some of your marketing practices and strategies and whatnot. And if you're looking for a place to get started on networking and community within this other industry, I want to say like not industry, community of women who want to thrive in business and life, right? Like the Bloom Business Inner Circle is great for that. And I want to honor your commitment. So I will give you 2 months free. So you're basically paying for 10 months, but you get 12. And so I say all that is because we had it before. So it was very easy now to add it back because we already had it in some of the old workflows and email sequences and things like that. We already had it all built. And so it was easy to bring back now in a new way. And so it feels good. Like I almost like wanted to give myself a little gold star or a pat on the back for saying like, yeah, look at you, Amber. Look at you, all that work that you did. Like I'm thanking the former version of me who just had the knowing of like, hey, I know it's going to take a lot of work to move platforms to FG Funnels to like get these things all, but it's all going to have purpose. And so that's what I just want to encourage you today. Like if you are thinking about diving into FG Funnels or any kind of software or tool, like your hard work will pay off and you're going to delight yourself one day and say like, look at that. I'm working smarter, not harder. So just encouraging you on that today. All right, friend, I'm going to wrap up today's episode. I hope you enjoyed this. And if you have a friend who is also has some big question marks about sales funnels, go ahead and share this episode with her. And hopefully it'll kind of demystify some of the things that you've heard about them being overwhelming and, sleazy or salesy or techie or all those things. I hope I've reinforced the idea that sales funnels can be made simple and can help you work smarter and not harder. And that's what I'm all about, is just sharing those strategies with you. All right, take care.